All right, so in our first lesson, we talked about how to bring the bass line to life by using various articulations to create a skipping effect, okay? And essentially, what we're replicating is the drummer basically dropping these little bombs with a kick drum or just accenting the snare on the end of any of the beat to just kind of keep it propelling that in motion. Now, in this lesson, we're going to start adding some chords. And in this style, what we're going to do is create a walking bass line so that we're constantly moving. But now, the little skips will be created by chords. Some people call these chord jabs or chord stabs. And it's a wonderful little effect that you can do. So now we're going to be introducing the fingers of the right hand to play the chord. So let's start off with a technique, a real simple technique that I call the pinch. So the pinch is going to involve the thumb, which is now going to be devoted to playing the bass line, and the index finger, which will just do a little pop on maybe the D string, for example. And this, again, the effect is a rhythmic effect to just create this sense of a skipping, you know, and it's going to really help propel our swing feel. So if we're going to break this down a little bit, we have two ways to play the pinch and the claw eventually. On the beat and off the beat. And then once we get comfortable playing, so basically that's on the beat would be with the thumb, together with the thumb, because the thumb's always going to be doing quarter notes, right? And then on the and of each beat. So as we explored with the Pull Off to Nowhere in the first lesson, we're going to be exploring by, you know, playing on and off the beat on all four beats eventually. That's something to practice. But let's just take a look at example one here, the pinch. So we've got a G7. We're going to be playing the low G, just a quarter note figure with our thumb, and we're going to pinch with our index finger on the G string. So it's real simple. That's it. And we're just going to keep the thumb going. And then if you look in the second measure, now the pinch is going to be on the and of beat one. So now it's going to be independent from the thumb. This is a great exercise because we're going to loop this two-bar phrase. On the first measure, they're going to be together, so on the beat, and on the second measure, they'll be staggered. So the pinch will be on the and of beat one. So let's check it out. I'm going to repeat it a couple of times, but here we go. A 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. Both staggered. 1 and. That's it. And so again, what we want to avoid is, in measure 2, playing the thumb and the pinch together. So we don't want to go, you know, so we don't want to go, right, we want to keep the thumb and index finger independent. So thumb first, thumb, 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 first thumb, etc., etc. And then just one final note with this, we want to kind of keep that pop as an eighth note short. So that means that the third finger, this is what I'm fingering that note with in the left hand, just release it after you play it. Just release it. So it's not quite a pull off, you're just releasing the pressure. Release. Just moving it on and off. Okay? Example 2, now we're going to use the claw. So the claw is the thumb together with index and middle. So we have P-I-M. And I'm just playing a simple guide tone voicing to outline that G7. So we're going to do the same exact rhythmic pattern, but now using the middle finger. So maybe, you know, as a prelude to this, just kind of play those, get the feel of it with your right hand on those strings. All right, so the exercise in time is a 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. Both. Both. Now staggered. Thumb, claw, thumb, thumb, thumb. And you just, you know, these are the kind of exercises that don't require a lot of thinking. You want to basically put all of these on autopilot, really get them established in your muscle memory so you can do this watching TV. In example 3, now we're going to add a third note to our chord. So now our claw will be expanded thumb, index, middle, and ring finger, P-I-M-A. And it's the same. Example 3, same thing. Get the feel of it. Be able to hear all those notes. And here's example 3. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Both staggered. claw, thumb, 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 claw, thumb, thumb, thumb. Okay, and finally, in example 4, we're going to be taking a look at the Charleston rhythm. The Charleston rhythm is an excellent exercise because the Charleston rhythm is basically on the beat and then off the beat. So it happens right on beat 1 and then the and of beat 2, so it mixes things up a little bit. So, you know, the rhythm is on, off, on, off. And also, it's a signature or a hallmark rhythm of the jazz style. So it's a great exercise, but it's also an integral rhythm that we're going to use throughout our comping as we're playing a moving bass line. So the last final thing that I want to explore with you is take a look at the articulations in measure 1 of example 4. Notice that the chords are staccato. And then in measure 2, the chords are held. So this example also is about holding chords with the fingers of the left hand. So if we want to have short chords, they're just going to be quick pops. So as an exercise, you can get that G13 happening. Keep the first finger down, but just pop 2, 3, and 4. That'll create our short staccato effect. Versus long chords, you just leave everything down on the left hand. So I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Here's example 4. The first measure, notice how the chords are short, but then in the second measure, they'll be long. And the bass line is always long, so those are always going to be long and sustained. So here we go. A 1, 2, 3, and short, short, long, short. Long, short, now long. And that's another effect that's very subtle, but will really, again, make your playing much more three-dimensional and sound like there's two different players playing. It'll sound like, if you really nail the articulation on these exercises and establish, a palpable difference between short, staccato, and long and legato, it'll sound like you've got a guitarist comping against a smooth walking bass line.